the experience that I've had in certain platforms like YouTube have been like a 7-year experience, and in other avenues like Twitch have only been for like 2 months. But there's still something that I can, I guess, kind of explore with both. And I think the most interesting thing about doing these platforms like YouTube and Twitch is that it's an avenue that is, kind of, it's already explored by plenty of musicians. I think the irony is that there's so many musicians who know how to use Twitch right now that if you go onto the music and performing arts, there's like 5,000 or something channels that are there and like 4,000 that are like online at any given time. You can just click on it and there's like 4,000 or 5,000 channels like online. But it's like, you could also say the same thing about the amount of killing musicians that we all know that are on the internet but just don't know about that. And so I think there's an interesting Venn diagram that you can kind of put in place of like really killing musicians and then musicians who know how to use the internet. And sometimes they meet in the middle, but unfortunately they don't always. Yeah, like sometimes those things don't overlap, and I think that's one of the issues that I'm kind of trying to address. Like if we're talking about sharing certain things, on these platforms and like what platforms you should use, I think one of the things that I've been encountering, that I've been seeing from the inside of both worlds, is how this COVID-19 crisis, so to speak, has been kind of forcing us to look at our ephemerality and fragility as musicians, like specifically performers and entertainers, like how that is. I think it's been forcing us to take like a hard look at like how are we going to survive in the new world, because it's not like COVID-19 is like, okay, this is here now, and then once it's gone, cool, we're gonna go back to normal. Even if that does happen, you can't just write off these past 2 or 3 months as not being a learning experience. Because I think the learning experience that's happening is that we are in 2020, and you shouldn't just be looking at the people who are suffering from this. You should be looking at the people who are thriving from this, because it's like, that's where the lesson can be learned. Like you have to look at how can you turn this into a success. And one of the things that I think has been really interesting is how I've been able to take my position in the community. Like I got into Twitch because I used to look at Smash Brothers tournaments and stuff when they were still going on. Like otherwise I didn't really know what Twitch was or how to operate in it. I didn't even know you could really do music on it. Till I met friend Don Palumbi, which I don't know if y'all know him. Like he's a great drummer. He's on Twitch.
Yeah, we just had him on the podcast, man. We met through you. Great. We met through you because he gifted a subscription on your Twitch.
That's right.
Like that's all thanks to you.
I remember that. Yeah, it's true. I remember that. That's so cool. But yeah, like I can bring all this stuff on on the internet because of my time spent on it and looking at it. But then I see so many people that are my friends on Facebook, or people that are friends of friends or whatever, Facebook, Twitch, killing musicians. People that I could put, if all of them were on the internet, they would honestly knock out most of the like the people that were on the music and performing arts tab on Twitch. Like, no offense, like to any of the people that I might not know that might know me, but it's really interesting how like some of them can't even really use a smartphone. Like some of them have problems there, and they have pride in not having pride, but like they're just like, I don't really know how to use technology. Like I don't really know how to use the internet. And then some of them just like, yeah, I don't like spending too much time with this stuff anyway, because such like, yeah, I agree, it's true. But now look at where we are right now. This is an opportunity to kind of spread your message and spread like what you know and what you love to a wider audience that you otherwise might not have been able to reach prior to this crisis, just because your gigging life would consume your ability to get into the stuff. But now you can't gig, so what do? And I see a lot of people do this, like, and I wanted to talk about this today, actually. I like, just a quick PSA. I see a lot of people doing this follow for follow, I follow you, this and that kind of stuff. And I think like it's a positive sentiment, but you have to understand how YouTube and CPM works. And if you don't even know what CPM is, you shouldn't even be doing follow for follow. I don't think anybody is going around being like gig for gig. Hey man, you give me a gig, I'll give you a gig. Right? It's like nobody does that. Right?
I love that comparison.
If you do, then that's a little, I don't know. Or like, if somebody say, hey man, like you come to my show, I'll come to your show. It's like that. I assume that you're playing shows for a living because you like doing it, right? You probably didn't just pick up your instrument like yesterday and expect to get paid $100, $200, $500 a gig the next day. Like you probably didn't expect that, right? Well, the same thing works for YouTube. And there's something called CPM, cost per mile, which translates to cost per thousand for YouTube. So like how much money they're going to pay you per 1,000 people watching your stuff. So if you're talking about getting to 1,000 subs on YouTube, then you got to get 4,000 viewer hours, which means 4,000 unique hours. And if you're putting up 6-minute songs, that's a lot of time to be watching something that's just a song. So if you're like, I don't know, Jonathan Krinkleberg or whatever, you know, and you have a introspective profile, you know, picture is looking off with your guitar and it's like against a brick wall in Brooklyn or something. There's 1,000 other people that do that. What makes you unique? And if you're not trying to show people what makes you unique and you're not doing it just because you love it, no one's going to subscribe to you. So if you get, let's say your follow for follow works and you got 1,000 people to follow you, how many of those 1,000 people are actually going to keep coming back to your channel? How many of those 1,000 people are going to be giving you those unique views? Because I have 70,000 plus subs on YouTube right now. And it's not like all 70,000 of those people are on every video. We have like 50 comments on our latest video, 50 out of 70,000. That latest video has about maybe 4,000 views. And it's like, this is a reality you have to deal with. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you have to do this because you love to do it. You have to do this because it's something that you want to do, that you're interested in. So this may seem like a tangent, but I think it's important that everyone come to terms with reality because I feel like no one's saying this. And only me and a handful of creators on Facebook that I saw are doing that. Like Adam Neely talked about it, Carlos Eni and Sand in the Rain. Like, you know, we made one message from saying this, like, hey, this is great that you're doing this, but just know that like you're probably gonna make $3 like after you reach this giant hurdle of 1,000 subs and then 4,000 unique hours, you know, and then like you're gonna get $3 and you don't get paid until YouTube sets until you reach $100 threshold. So it might be even after you get 1,000 subs and 4,000 viewer hours, it might take you 8 or 9 months just to get $100. Think about that. This is like a same thing for gig in a music school. If you go to music school, high school, okay, 4 years of music high school, 4 years of college. So that's 8 years, right? At least 8 years it'll take for you to get your nice gigs, like the real gigs where people really notice you, right? Like for certain people, it might take you that long. So it might take the same time for YouTube. It's a whole nother game. So I think people have kind of like the wrong idea about how to use internet and these platforms. And I think that's really the biggest thing that I think people need to understand. Like you can get successful quick, but it needs to be, you need to know the game. You need to know the system. It's a scene just like the jazz scene. If you want to get a gig, you got to go through the sessions. You got to go meet the people. You got to such and such. You got to go find out who the YouTube creators are in your scene. You got to go watch their videos. You got to comment on their videos. You got to go, find out, like watch tutorials, like get your overlay, get your branding together, do all that kind of stuff. And then put up things that aren't just music. You can't put up your album on YouTube and expect to get 1,000 subs. You got to put up what's your gear setup. Maybe put up a lesson on how to do something that you do unique in your songs that people might be interested in. You know, do all those kinds of things, and that's the thing that's really going to help. And I think that's, to me, the biggest magic that I've found with being able to do this kind of stuff on places like Twitch and YouTube is that I'm able to offer these things that I would normally do in my own spare free time and offer it to people, you know, that essentially has no real cost to me. Like in terms of it's not taxing my life. You know, I got all my instruments laid out. If I'm shedding, I can go on the internet and shed with people. If I'm, I talked about in another interview before about like how I can take what my what I can do. Like I have perfect pitch and I play a lot of J-pop stuff like that. I'm playing along to that stuff. I want to share that with people so people can request songs for me to play live, you know, and that's how I can connect with them. And then like I explain to them what I'm doing and we can talk and all kind of stuff, you know, just like engaging with people, finding unique things that you do and putting it on the internet. That's what the focus should be. It should not be getting to 1,000 subs on YouTube because that's really a fruitless. It's, again, I've seen the argument of like, oh, it's just a way to keep each other positive. It's like, yeah, but it almost seems like a weird dystopian cyberpunk, like it seems like a dystopian novel or movie, like when you're trying to put this veil of false positivity. It should be the sense of realism so you're not wasting your time and then being extremely disappointed and disheartened in a way that you probably have not felt since your first gig rejection, like way back when you were like 17 years old or something. You're gonna feel that all over again if you don't approach this the right way. You know, it'll hurt worse because you'll get into this weird head like, wow, nobody wants to listen to my stuff. Nobody wants to, and that might not be true. You might have the most killing stuff in the world, but because you're one Jonathan Crinkleberg out of 1,000 sea of Jonathan Crinklebergs with the same album cover and the same stablemates first track on the album and the same, like, you have to show people why you're different. you need to like show people why they should be giving a crap about what you do and showing them that you actually care about them instead of getting follow for follow. Because those, I can almost guarantee you, a lot of those follow for follow, majority of them will not be coming back to your channel. They're just clicking to help you out, and YouTube does not care about that. They care about engagement. So, yeah, just I don't know. That's how I feel about that.